The Japanese band Sekai no Owari, literally the end of the world, was formed in 2007, and they made quite a name for themselves in Japan within a few short years. They began as an alternative rock band, but they have since made songs featuring many different styles and genres, and they are especially well known for their very stylized, costumed live performances and music videos. I am not going to go into any more detail regarding the band's history or show any examples of their concerts because, for one, that's outside of the scope of this video and my expertise, and secondly, the group has a respectable international media presence and I really don't want to run into any copyright issues. I will link to the group's official YouTube channel in the video description so you can check them out yourselves. Anyway, the lead singer of the group is Satoshi Fukase, and sometime in 2012, he contacted Yamaha to inquire about creating a Vocaloid with his voice, using a snail mail letter apparently. I bet some of you kids out there have never even written a real letter. Anyway, the Vocaloid that would result from this partnership was first publicly announced in the August of 2015, and the end product, Fukase, was released for the Vocaloid 4 engine on January 28, 2016, developed and published by Yamaha itself. Among Fukase's 3 voice banks is an English voice bank, making him the first new Vocaloid of this generation to be bilingual, as well as the first bilingual Vocaloid that Yamaha has developed. We tend to be skeptical when we hear about a Japanese Vocaloid receiving an English voice bank, but Fukase's is surprisingly competent. Mr. Satoshi is actually an English speaker. It's clearly his second language, as he has a very strong accent when speaking in interviews, but Fukase's English voice bank is very good, maybe even better than Luca V4's in some ways. It was the intention from the beginning for Fukase to have an English voice bank, and you can hear Mr. Satoshi's English singing in some of Sekai no Owari's more recent singles, a few of which are sung entirely in English. Despite his marketing though, Fukase is still a Japanese Vocaloid through and through. His other 2 voice banks are normal and soft, with normal being the default voice bank. Being that Fukase's voice provider is a popular professional singer, his voice banks are not voice acted and are meant to capture the essence of Mr. Satoshi's voice, at least a particular facet of it. The normal voice bank is not particularly powerful, nor is it too mellow. It's just a straightforward, almost casual vocal. Imagine Arsloid had a slightly more serious brother, and you're in the neighborhood. The soft voice bank is a whisper-style, sweeter voice that can be used with cross-synthesis to give the normal voice bank some extra depth. Though the soft voice bank was not designed for a lot of solo use, I don't think it suffers from the drastic quality issues that Arsloid's extension libraries do. The developers simply think that the soft voice bank isn't as easy to use as the normal voice bank, so be aware of that if you're planning to use the soft voice bank as the primary vocal in a song. Fukase was designed to be easy to use overall, so it may simply be that the developers find the soft voice bank is not easy enough to use to recommend using it on its own. As far as vocal tone, Fukase has a young male voice, similar to Arsloid and Yohioloid. It's not a very masculine vocal, but you probably could make it sound deeper with some adjustments. One noteworthy aspect of Fukase's voice banks is that, like Luca's V2 voice banks, they all share the same vocal and tempo ranges, so moving between voice banks within a song is quite simple, and Fukase's normal Japanese voice bank and his English voice bank sound very similar, so they work well together. The vocal range itself is a little disappointing, however. Vocal and tempo ranges are always recommendations, and you can go beyond them, but I would have expected a much larger recommended range for a Vocaloid with a professional singer as his voice provider. I would assume that his Japanese voice banks ranges were reduced to match his English voice banks, when it would have been better to open up the Japanese voice banks even if they wouldn't match the English voice bank. While planning and preliminary development of Fukase probably started in 2012, his voice banks were likely recorded quite a bit later, I would imagine, but the only details we have about its development are in regards to his English voice bank. Yamaha found itself in a bit of a pickle when it agreed to the Fukase project because, at the time, it had only one staff member that spoke English and had experience recording and developing English voice banks. Sakai no Owari also went on tours abroad during the development, and this complicated things, as Mr. Satoshi ended up doing some recordings for the English voice bank while he was overseas. It's also been said that Cyberdiva was in development at the same time as Fukase, and that techniques developed for her were used to improve Fukase's English voice bank. I've even heard that Fukase's English voice bank used Cyberdiva's recording script, which would make sense as they're both Yamaha Vocaloids and likely developed by some of the same people. In addition to his voice banks, Fukase also includes a special job plugin for the Vocaloid editor, similar to the way Zolo Project and Sachiko had their own job plugins. Fukase's is known as Electronica Tune, and it was created as a way to make Fukase sound similar to the way that Mr. Satoshi would sound in some of Sakai no Owari's live performances, by giving the voice an auto-tune-like effect. The plugin is actually quite simple, as it just turns on pitch snap mode, sets pitch bend sensitivity to 12, and then automatically draws pitch bends for notes. As a result, the plugin will work for any Vocaloid. Presumably a suggestion from the band itself, a contest was held on Pixiv in the August of 2015 to find a design for the Fukase Vocaloid. Many interesting designs were submitted, but the winning design gave many people a moment of pause. Fukase's winning design was done by the artist Mikuma, who has a truly beautiful gallery. He, or she, is a very talented artist who seems to enjoy using very vibrant colors, and he was definitely a Vocaloid fan judging by his past illustrations. While I can't say I'm a huge fan of his design for Fukase, I can give credit where it's due. It's very well drawn, it's very different and visually interesting, and the use of color is striking and well balanced. Many of the Fukase design submissions were inspired by Sakai no Owari's shows and music videos, and I believe that was the case here as well, though I am not intimately familiar with their performances, so I can't be more specific. The group does sometimes have a morbid fixation though, and so this Fukase design has a sort of monster-like theme going on, with the dog-like hat and the foot on the end of his cane. He also apparently has a monster companion, this little white guy named Point. This was the winning design, but the finalized artwork was altered to make him look a bit creepier, with his left eye made red and the left side of his body appearing damaged, including his left hand. Many people liked the design. They thought the combination of, quote, cute and creepy was nice, and others liked the monster theme. The rest of us weren't so sure. The design is really one of those love it or hate it situations. But the one thing many people on both sides found strange about the design was that it makes Fukase look like a young boy, when Mr. Satoshi is a man my age. Yeah, I know Sachiko's Vocaloid doesn't look like her voice provider either, but I don't think many people had middle school boy in mind when they imagined a Vocaloid from the singer of Sakai no Owari. Female Vocaloid fans seem to have embraced his youthful appearance though, so I guess all's well that ends well. Because Fukase is voiced by a professional singer, and because he has 3 voice banks including an English voice bank, he's a bit more expensive than most other new releases, but not unreasonably so. His voice banks are available on their own or in a starter pack, with the voice bank selling for about $124 US and the starter pack going for $210 using March 2017 exchange rates. Both of these products are available digitally and physically, and the physical versions might actually be a bit cheaper on Amazon Japan, though not after you factor in the cost of a forwarding service. One thing to note is that Fukase's starter pack, digital or physical, includes the Vocaloid 4 editor for Cubase rather than the standard Windows Vocaloid 4 editor. The V4 editor for Cubase will work in Windows too, but it's something to keep in mind if you just want the regular V4 editor instead. There is also the Fukase Creator Pack, but that's the same as the Starter Pack but more expensive because it includes some audio hardware. My advice, just get the voices. Yamaha has a reputation for being really, really bad at promoting its own Vocaloids. It will throw Vocaloids out into the wild before people even realize what's happening, and then it will disappear. Like a cat that leaves presents for you to find in your shoes in the morning. But Fukase was an exception, as he received a lot of good promotion leading up to his release and following shortly afterward. He was announced 5 months prior to his release, he had a design contest, he received several demo songs from popular and well-known Vocaloid producers. One of them even got deleted from SoundCloud because it was a Taylor Swift cover, and a lot of his information was posted in both Japanese and English. It's hard to beat that as a Yamaha Vocaloid. But despite all of this, it appears as though Fukase started off very strong, but kind of petered out. Could it just be that he is a male Vocaloid and those always have trouble doing well? Maybe, but I can think of one other potential reason. I don't think his price point is a reason, because $140 really is not that much money, especially considering what you get for it. So what could have prevented Fukase from selling better? Well, this is a topic that people hotly debated even before he released, and it has to do with Fukase's licensing agreement. A very depressing and distasteful aspect of modern life is that you own very few of the things you actually buy anymore. Whether it's video games, music, a tractor, or a Vocaloid, your purchase means you are merely renting the privilege to use the item at the discretion of its owner. One of the key things that distinguishes the Vocaloid software from other musical instruments is that you are actually restricted in how you can use the Vocaloid synthesizer. You can't do anything you want just because you bought a Vocaloid. Yamaha has set rules that you have to follow. A simple and yet complex example is that you can't use the Vocaloid software to sing something like hate speech. You agree not to do that when you install and use the software. A restriction like that sounds very strange for a musical instrument, but it's usually not an issue because most of the restrictions deal with special commercial applications like karaoke bars and radio stations. Fukase, though, is a little different. Imagine you're in a music store and you see a nice banjo in the corner and you decide to purchase it. You bring it to the counter, and as you're reaching for your wallet or purse, the cashier says that in order to buy this particular banjo, you have to sign a contract stating that you will notify the banjo's manufacturer and ask its permission before you sell any music made with the banjo. I would put that banjo back in the corner because that is a bunch of baloney. And yet, that is what Fukase's special licensing agreement stipulates. You are free to use his voice banks non-commercially. You can make songs with him all the livelong day as long as you release them for free. But if you want to charge even 1 red cent for a song or an album, you have to send an email to a specific address and ask for permission first. That is very weird. Admittedly, this may not be unique to Fukase, as I have seen people say that Zola Project had a similar licensing clause, though I can't confirm that. But the bigger point is that I honestly have no idea if this was a very big deal in Japan. Most Japanese Vocaloid producers are very accustomed to asking for permissions before selling albums anyway, because you usually need to ask for permission from companies before you can use a Vocaloid's name or likeness in your works or advertisements. If you want to put a picture of Hatsune Miku on the cover of your album, even if it's your original artwork, you need to contact Krypton Future Media and get permission to do so first. Whether that only applies to commercial albums, I don't remember, but regardless, getting permission from Vocaloid companies is nothing new. It is still very strange for this to apply to songs, however, and while it is very common for producers to get permission from companies, you can also see plenty of examples where this wasn't done. There are hundreds of Vocaloid albums that don't even hint that they are Vocaloid related, not on the album covers, the credits, or item descriptions, possibly so that the producer would not have to ask for special permissions. Maybe the producer was shy, maybe he took an ideological stance against having to ask for permissions, or maybe he asked for permissions and was not given them. The companies do reserve the right to withhold permissions for any reason or no reason at all. Again, I have no idea if this special licensing had an impact on Fukase's long-term sales. I would have to talk to Japanese producers to see how their communities reacted to it, and like I said, it could have been no big deal. But I do find it a very odd inclusion for Vocaloid, a franchise built upon the whimsical and impulsive creativity of the masses. And if the license wasn't a factor in Fukase's lack of popularity, that only deepens the mystery. In the end, Fukase is typical of Yamaha's Vocaloids, a quality product that doesn't get the love it deserves, and that's a real shame.
川で洗濯しているとき、大きなものが流れてきたり、山で芝刈りしているとき、輝く壁を見つけたり、なんてこともなく平穏な毎日を過ごしていました。同じ家に住んで同じ米を食べて、ドラマチックな出来事など一つもないけれど、それは二人にとって素敵な物語。おやすみ、めでたしめでたし。午前3時ずっと目が覚めた。まるで闇の中に閉じ込められたみたいだ。いっそこのまま息も止まればいいのにな。傷つくことはもううんざりだ。ボロボロになってうずくまってる。脆い自分なんて誰が愛してくれますか。僕がモンスターになった日、信じたくて信じられなくて、この声が届かないなら全てを殺してしまおうか。And through the volume I said we've seen enough, and on the screen as clear as can be, it's a colorful display with screaming again. And such beautiful tale we make up in a single reality, the death of a nation, a toxic reaction, exclamation, come on, the noise can be a favorite, the light on a fail throw, it's a television show, a delicate form of vertical. やっと夜明け前にちゃんと気づいたよ。愛想で一度嫌なのでも謳歌する恋だ。ねえ明日も雨なら君の傘にお邪魔したくて、ただじっと眺めたらいたずらに君は微笑寄せた。どころかチュンとキスをした。 If I told you that I love my life, then I'm sorry, cause I must realize my heart is feeling heavy, overcome with envy. Surely I'm the one who wins someday. So now I'm praying not for an answer. Someone tell me what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do for you? For you? For you? For you? I thought this stupid heroin love. If it meant that you'd look my way, I would throw my whole damn world about. If I knew that we work the change, cause I always think I would. Oh, I promise I fear I do, cause I can't help but get flustered when I'm alone now, even in the room. Don't want to real, I'm in tired, but I wish I could be fire. I'm in desire, a fire like a heat that's no eyes on it. When the stars in the sky, when I'm moving up, I promise I'll let you do it. You make me laugh, non-stop. Is it much fun? So all the top, and I think it could be better if I knew how to try, but there's no chance for me at all. 願いがしたありふれた触れ合いと雪のように溶ける降り積もる白さに迷い込んだ僕へ化け猫は手招く君は喉の外へ飛び出した神様はきっと誰も救えない順調少々秘密を抱いて彼女もきっと私と同じ笑えないほどいびつな関係です君の大切なものいっそ壊してしまいたい一つになっても満たされなくて寄り添っていたいのにさあ君誰よ恋の花何も問わずはないでしょもう一回ほら君を困らせてしまえない鳴りやまぬセミの声に君の手をそっと握った間違い探したとえ過ちでも愛してるはならん時間旅行は単純なシステムで行ける君はどうだいもしこの瞬間今が幸せならばまだ必要ないことささあ な僕がたどり着いた街は気づけば反発ばっか、それ必要なんですか。囲われた世界だった僕が自由と熱してたとこはやっぱり飛び出したって怖いようなストレンジャーズ。仮面のく簡単な僕らに深い極まりないクエスチョンストレンジャーズ。またたまにわかるとそう叫んだんだ、その声で気づいてたんだ。本日も本来も分かってたんだ。もうずっと前から誰かのため自分のためだ。それでもあなたはあなたはあなただけは君に出会うまで僕らのことがあったそう言ってきたような気がした。いつもの帰り道まだ窓から眺めた君と二人で歩いたこともいらしていつものように泣いている君に刺さってる